Hello everyone, this is Aya Arruzi from Hinawi Software. Our topic for today is really useful and it's used in almost any business. Basically, I'm going to show you what is the absence activity in Hinawi Software. I'm going to go through all the steps regarding the workflow of the absence activity. But first, let's go to the settings because everything is from the settings. It starts from there since it's the core of any software, of any system basically. Notice here before I get into this that I'm logged in from the admin account because I want to go through a very sensitive window, which is the absence settings. Therefore, I'm logged in from the admin account because I want all the features and permissions to be permitted and displayed. So first we go to the file menu and then we go to setup modules and then we go to the HRMS settings and then through the general settings. Notice here how I have several companies because it's multi-company or more in the system. So we have setup regarding each one of these companies, like individual different setup. So let me go to the test company and let me show you that in here we have the HRMS activities setup. So basically, as you see here, all these activities in the HRMS activities will read from here, from these items. Let's see here regarding the absence. Here at the top is the company name displayed and here is the activity name. First of all, we have the department, which we can choose what department, any specific department we want the setup to apply on, or in case we want all departments, we can select all from here. We also have an icon here to insert more rows or delete rows. So we can add as much rows as we want. Same thing applies for the position column. We can add as much positions as we want or just select all. We also have this excuse, whether we want to select as yes or no or all. So this applies to, like, the first row applies to employees who are absent with an excuse. But the second row applies to employees who took absence without any excuse. There's a difference, like a huge difference among these two, because in the absence without excuse, there can be a deduction. Like here we select the deduction is from what items. But here in the absence with excuse, there is no deduction. So as you see here, there is no deduction. And we also have a limit, so basically 10 days maximum. We can choose it in hours or in days. And how many days or hours maximum are allowed for employees to take regarding absences. And by the way, the hours here, the hours feature will read from the total number of hours per day, working hours in the company. So basically there can be 8 hours, 9 hours. It can vary among companies. So this is the main difference. We can select whether how many hours per day regarding the employees. So as you see here, we went to the settings and then the payroll policy. These are the working hours for a day. We select them from here. And the absence activity will read from here the total number of working hours per day. Let's proceed forwards after we made sure that the absence setup is complete. Let's now go to the HRMS activities and let's go to absence, the second one. Now, as you see here, all these steps and the entire process applies to the HR employees only. This means that timesheet employees will not have the absence activity created from here. Timesheet employees have their absence deducted from the timesheet form itself. But HR employees have their absence deducted from here, from this menu. First, I will complete the entire HR employees' absence entirely, and then I will proceed forwards with absences regarding the timesheet form and the timesheet employees. The first one right here is the web absence request because we have 3 different versions of the software, whether we want it to be as a mobile application, as a web application, or the desktop application. So basically, it is possible to create absences from the web application, and then later on we can insert those requests and implement them here in the software. So this means that we are requesting to have all these activities regarding absence copied here to the desktop version and appearing here on the desktop version. But in a normal phase, like in a normal process, we are going to create from here, starting with this as the first step. Afterwards, we will select here the company which we want to proceed with the absence, and the effective month and year of the absence, and here we select the employee name. Let's go to the same company which we have made sure the setup is complete for, which is test company, and then let's choose this employee and click enter. You see here, this note right here is the same as I was saying now, that the absence for the timesheet employees is created from the timesheet form itself. Now in here, we choose the type of the absence. Is it in hours or in days? If we choose days, we choose here, is it with an excuse or without an excuse? Let's say that it's without an excuse. And then the number of days. If we select here the type as hours, then here we say the number of hours, but here since it's days, so how many number of days? Let's see here and click on write 1, and then let's choose that the absence was on today's date. Let's see what the system's gonna give us. You see here the system warned us that there's a leave created on this exact same date. This means that you cannot create an absence and a leave at the exact same time. It does not make sense because the employee goes on either an absence or the leave. The employee cannot go on both at the same time on the same date. So therefore, we cannot choose this date. Let's say, for example, 26th of May 2019. And it will automatically calculate the 2 date because it's 1 day. Since it's only 1 day, it will automatically show this. And then right here we choose the reason. Of course, we can add more reasons through pressing on Fn, F2 on the keyboard, which will display this for us in order to add a new reason for absence in either English or Arabic or both, and then choose the priority of this in the list. So we can choose here the reason, and here we choose the deduction type. Since there is no excuse, we can either deduct from the salary itself, which will be shown at the time of creating the salary sheet. We can also deduct from the leave, which is the annual leave balance for the employees. So for example, if an employee has like 5 days of annual leave, and we choose here that the absence type is through the leave, in this case 1 day will be deducted from his or her balance for the annual leave. We can also choose updating today's ledger, which will not affect any amount. It will only be displayed as a report. This is usually selected for with an excuse, because in this case, when an employee has an excuse, the deduction type is more recommended to be the ledger only. But it can also be selected for no excuse, like it works both ways. Let's see here that when I select with excuse, it's more recommended to choose the absence days, and it will not deduct any amount since basically it has an excuse. So as you see here, it shows us here below, it shows us the setup which we have made earlier in the system. It shows us how many days per year regarding the absence or maximum allowed, and here it shows us the total absence. So basically it shows us how many days in hours or amount. Let's see another scenario here without an excuse, and here I want to select it as deducting from the salary. And then click yes. As you see here now, the amount is changed based on the salary for the employee, based on the number of days, and based on the deduction type and everything. We have selected that it will deduct from the salary the following amount. We can see further details here. So this is what's going to be deducted. That's the main thing. If we select deducting from absence, and then yes, we are changing the deduction type. Notice here that the basic salary is showing the following for leaves. 1 day is deducted from the absence in this case. And here it shows us that 1 day is basically 8 hours, since it will read from the settings that 1 day is 8 hours. And there will be no amount deducted, but there will be 1 day deducted. That's the main difference. Let's click here on yes. You see here now, no leave days will be deducted, but the amount will be deducted. This is the exact main difference among them. And the ledger will not deduct either leaves or amount. It will not deduct anything. It will just deduct the number itself as a number in the report without any amount or any absence. So this is the main difference. And then we save and close this. Basically, this is the main usage and the main procedure. This is the workflow of creating an absence. Let's proceed forwards with saving and closing. And then we have to make sure that the effective month is matching. And here it's warning us that it's not matching. Why is that? Because today's date is the 1st of June, and the date of absence is in May. So it's warning us, are you sure you want this to apply to this date? We click on yes or no depending on the policies, and then we click on save. And now it's saved successfully. After that, we are going to go through the edit or delete, and then we are going to choose the name of the company, select that, and then either delete or edit. In case we do not want to do any one of them, do not want to choose anything, we can proceed forwards with approving. In the approving here, we will choose the company name, view it, and then select it and approve. Now it's successfully approved, and it disappeared from the window since it's no longer requested or required to be approved. It's approved already. We can also edit or delete after approval. Notice here we do not have an absence return like here. Here in the leaves we have leave return, but absence does not contain this. Why is that? It's because mainly the absence is something which has happened in the past, like something which has already occurred. An employee has already went on this absence, whether he took an excuse or without an excuse, it has already happened, and it's not pending for the future, whether near or far future. But regarding the leaves is mainly such as the annual leave, such as the sick leave. Any leave is not something that has happened in the past. It's something that still will happen, whether tomorrow, whether after a week, a month, a year. It's something that is in the future, a near or far future. That's why it requires to be returned, but the absence does not require to be returned at all. And also we have more information here which will show us an entire workflow and a process in both English and Arabic to understand the exact workflow and to understand the exact usage of the menu regarding the absence. The entire procedure will be displayed here. Now afterwards we are going to see the difference among the HR employees who took an absence along with the timesheet employees who took an absence. So let's see a practical example. First we go to the timesheet. First everything has to be complete regarding the location, the projects, assigning those employees to timesheet. Like all these steps should be complete in order to create the timesheet. But we are going to move further and see the main difference in the absence activity itself. Like there is a different video that will be shown and displayed on the channel regarding the timesheet. But for now, we will see the difference in the absence form itself. So we go to create timesheet, and then we select the company which we have made the setup for, and we choose the date, the exact date of creating this timesheet. So let's say, for example, the 1st of January till 31. And let's click on Filter Employees and take this employee and click on OK. Now, as you see here, all this data is going to be presented. The days, how many days, for example, per week are present, and there is Friday and Saturday are off, their holiday, and how is it calculated per hours. So basically the shift which is assigned for this employee is per hours, and this is the from to time. So basically 8 hours per day, the units, which means the number of hours per day, is from 8 to 4, which means the total is 8 hours. Right here is the customer or job field, and what is the exact project on which this employee is assigned to. But what matters the most, what we care about now, is turning the present into absence. So we click on the icon right here, and then we select whether we want it to be absent or sick. When we click on absence, and then are you sure we want to change the status, we click on OK. Therefore, you see here, we choose whether it's calculated as yes or no. So are we going to calculate this absence, which will all read from the setup, of course. So we click on no, do not calculate it. So therefore, when we are not calculating this absence, all these fields will be empty. However, when we do want to calculate the absence, you see here, it's calculated as if the employee has went and took all those hours, 8 and 8. So it's calculated as 8 here. But when we select it as no, it will not be calculated. It will be disabled from here. So basically that's how it's calculated. And let's see here that when, for example, we want to change this to yes, as I have mentioned, 8 and 8 are here, and changing it to no disables everything. This is the main difference. Of course, we can select as sick, for example, when we want to change this to sick, and we can also select whether we want to calculate it as yes or no. All of this will be displayed on the salary sheet. So after creating the salary sheet, we will notice how the effect of the timesheet. And of course, we cannot create the salary sheet unless the timesheet is created for timesheet employees. This is the difference. So basically, that is the difference. And at the time of creating the timesheet, salary sheet for timesheet for any specific. And let's select here. Now, as you see here, it shows us that this employee in the following department joined on this date, on this project, with this salary, has worked for this number of hours, and this is the salary. How many actual working hours is 29, because it will read from the timesheet, and how many total work units, and the subtotal, the loans, all these details will be displayed here. And it will show us the work status for the employee, whether active or inactive. So basically that is how the salary sheet and the timesheet are connected, and how the timesheet affects the salary sheet, and how the absence affects the timesheet. So it's all connected in total. And how the absence for the timesheet employees differ than the absence for the HR employees, like they're not the same thing. Afterwards, after we complete everything, we can see it clearly in the HRMS reports, where it shows us the timesheet reports. It shows us the absence reports from here, which includes all the list of the created absence, all list of approved absences, and all absences in general. And this is the main difference, and this is the main workflow. I hope this video was clear and that I delivered all the points accurately and precisely. And please don't forget to share this video and subscribe with the channel, and make sure you share it with everyone who might be interested, who might benefit from it. And thank you so much.